Hello, Albany area Huskies. I'm Superintendent Mark Rademski, and I'm here today with John Kleppe on Husky Voices. John, of course, many of you know, is part of our band program. And John, I saw this article here in the Star Post, and I thought, the first thing I thought is I need to learn more about our band program, especially everything that went on with our marching band this summer. Yeah. Can you tell us something about, or tell us about our summer program?
Yeah, so what we do is we're a competitive street marching band, which I've only ever seen in central Minnesota. There are about 30 or so bands in central Minnesota that do it. And we compete in Class 2A this summer. We got bumped up a class, so we were with Sartell, Sauk Rapids, Alexandria, schools like that. Mm-hmm. And you get 100 yards and you get 4.5 minutes from when the first person goes in till the last person goes out. And there are judges walking around recording tapes, and you're doing your show, and at the end of the night you get your scores, and we ended up winning our class in every parade we were in.
That's incredible.
And in Litchfield, we were only beaten by one other band of any class, so we were really close to grand champions there. So that was it was a fantastic summer, an undefeated summer. So that was great.
And it's so much more than simply marching.
Yeah.
You're talking about the program in 4.5 minutes. That's got to be a pretty tight window, and you have to have that honed pretty well, right, John?
Yeah, we had one parade where I think our last bass drummer at the far end of the band got out at 4 minutes and 29 seconds. So I was sitting there going, you gotta go. And I usually have it timed on my watch, and they have their official timer standing there too, and we're kind of joking about it. But yeah, and you've probably seen us out in the parking lot line up, and we measure it out, and we have our little marks on the parking lot so we can get our times. And by the time we get to the parades, we're pretty confident that we're in that window and doing what we're supposed to do.
And your June was really busy.
Yeah.
Tell me about how many events did you have in June?
In June we did 8 parades, and I think there were only 6 days where we didn't have a parade or a practice in the whole month of June. And that includes our sweat week, where we go from noon to 8 p.m. every day. And we bring in cater-in suppers and things like that.
That's great.
And so that's really kind of our intensive camp leading up to that first parade. So.
And so I saw, I think the number I saw was 80 members,
mm-hmm.
and certainly a lot of dedication from our students.
Yeah.
But it takes more than just you from an adult standpoint to make sure everything's working as well, right?
Yeah. So we have, I am kind of the overseer of all of the departments, right? And then I spend a lot of my time on that block of, we call it the band proper, the wind instruments. And then I have a color guard instructor, Shannon Rushmeyer. She's been doing it for 20 years. And this year was the first time ever Albany won Best Color Guard at Alexandria, which is the big competition at the end of the season. So that was huge, and I felt so proud of her and so happy for her, and obviously for the color guard. They were fantastic this summer. And then we have a drumline instructor. His name is Ben Calway. He teaches at Albany Elementary and we're just fortunate to have him. He's got a competitive marching band background and drumline background. And then I have a handful of students, former students, and my rule is if you want to come back and help the marching band, you have to go somewhere and learn something about marching band that I didn't teach you.
Okay.
So we had one who was marching at the U of M last summer, and then we have 2 who are now band directors teaching at other schools. So we had 4 licensed band directors on staff this summer, and on top of that, just a ton of parent volunteers. Eve Justin and Stacy Vanderweist are kind of the main volunteer coordinators, and they make sure we have people there to hand out water and to push our scaffolding and to pull the trailer through the parade, and they're making sure the snacks are there and the water's there and the coolers are filled and all of those things. And so it's very nice for me to just show up and worry about teaching music, which is great.
Yeah. Band boosters. Tell me about our band boosters.
Yeah, they're just a really not a huge number, but very dedicated parents that they've surpassed, I think it was $325,000 they've donated since the start of that group, I think 6 years ago now.
Wow.
Which is incredible, including they just had this big push at the end of the school year to buy new sousaphones, which are the tubas, the marching tubas. And we had one, and we had 4 kids that wanted to play tuba this summer. And we've been borrowing from other schools in the past, and so it was really nice. It's nice now to have our own and not have to do that. So.
Sure. And I noticed, I think the number was 80 members to the family, as it was called in the article here. So there's a lot of enthusiasm there. When do we get our emergent musicians started with instruments?
So like yesterday, I think, 6th grade band camp started. So it's the kids coming into 6th grade. And so Miss Tessier's down there probably as we speak, helping kids make their first sounds on instruments in 6th grade. And then they can start being a part of the marching band after they finish 7th grade.
Okay.
So it's people going into 8th grade all the way through. We had, I think it was 12 this year, seniors who just graduated that marched this summer.
Okay.
So
Good.
it's all the way through that.
So not long now, school be kicking in.
Yeah.
What do we have to look forward to with band and our music program as we get rolling into the school year?
Yeah, so the big thing right away at the beginning of the school year is we get going on the musical, and that'll be the weekend before Thanksgiving. We're doing Footloose this year.
Okay.
Which I'm very excited for. And Jordan, who's helped with Color Guard, is our choreography there, and Ben is directing the pit, who was the drumline instructor this summer. So
Okay.
it's a lot of the same cast of characters, and we will be putting that on. There's a band and choir concert on October 12th, I think,
Okay.
is our first concert of the year, and then December there's something most nights if you're looking for music in December. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of how the school year gets going.
Well, you talked about some different things here already. What's your background? I mean, from what I hear, you do an awful lot more than instrumental music around here.
Yeah, I went to school at UW River Falls.
Okay.
And I taught band in Wisconsin for about 7 years before coming to Albany. I came to Albany kind of right as the beat was being constructed. And then we got our first tour, and I went to Greg Johnson, who was the superintendent at the time, and I was like, you need somebody to run this. And not even necessarily thinking it would be me. And so he was in agreement, and I was just talking about the number of systems and things in there. There's a lot. And so what ended up happening is nobody else wanted to do it. And so, as sometimes happens, someone's got to do it. And so I took over, and I didn't have a ton of experience. I knew sound systems pretty well, just given the music background, but lighting systems and video systems and streaming and all that stuff is just something I kind of had to learn on the fly. And so that's been a learning experience, and it's kind of my hobby. The beat is kind of my hobby, and it's a pretty cool hobby.
What an incredible facility.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Anything that we missed that we should be talking about, John?
No, I don't. The students have been doing a great job in Albany Band for a long time. I'm sure many people have heard them at sporting events. I think last year down at the Target Center we took 110 kids. There was 2 coach buses, and we had no empty seats, and so the kids in the band program are very dedicated and supportive of their classmates. And the one thing I would say is if you've only ever heard us at a basketball game or a football game, you haven't heard what we can do.
Okay.
So find a concert to come to this year, because we can really put some music together, and it's fun to do. So.
Well, great. John, thanks for spending time with us here today, and congratulations on a fantastic,
thank you.
A fantastic summer. We really appreciate everything you do, and I'm looking forward to some of those concerts. Even the pep band music I enjoy, so I'm looking forward to all of that. All of you, thank you for checking out Husky Voices here today with John Kleppe.